When I was younger, I did not think it was possible to become a millionaire because in Iran, we didn't have examples of anybody. I never touched somebody who was a millionaire to say maybe it's possible. In Germany, never met anybody who was a millionaire. But in US, two people. One name was Luther Al-Khassei. The other name was Fred Murad. I'll tell you about the David. You've heard me tell the stories about the Jewish dealership guy, but these two I met in my teens. Fred Murad was an Assyrian businessman, one of my dad's best friends since they were kids in Iran, neighbors. There's a whole different story there. But Fred he bought Marilyn Monroe's last house, drove a Ferrari, had business from here in China. Whenever I would see him, he had a swagger about himself. He had a little bit of an attitude, and it was charming, charismatic. Women liked him. It was interesting. And I liked him. I'm like, this guy made a lot of money. He did what do you call the mopping thing that you turn like this? He had the patent for that. The other one that I had was a...
Wait a minute. Did he say the magic words? He had a patent for it. If you guys don't know, I am Dave, 10-year intellectual property, dealing with everything from trademarks to copyrights, trade secrets, and yep, you may have guessed it, patents. Now, look at it. He probably pulled a quick one on you guys, but I got that good ear. So anytime, first of all, I think backing up, I love the fact that he shouted out this guy, Fred Murad, and we're going to take a deep dive, not a deep dive, but we're going to take a little bit more of a dive into this guy. Man, he's a beast, to say the least. And as we all know, this guy was, a multimillionaire, or is a multimillionaire, talking about buying Marilyn Monroe's old house and driving Ferraris and things like that. This guy is well off, let's say the least. But again, I think this is an important part for me to kind of jump in and kind of give you my take as a 10-year intellectual property. First, please hit the like button as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Yeah, my goal is to try to get more examples like the one that PBD talks about with Fred Murad out there. And when you read this story that we're going to go through on his website, this guy essentially came from the bottom, now he's here. And again, to be able to kind of build a company up from nothing, dealing with essentially cleaning supplies, doing business from China to the U.S., this guy was the real deal. So let's take a look really quickly here at the guy Fred Murad. And I think you guys would be really interested to see what I found out. First, PBD almost downplayed him a little bit. He talked about this guy having a patent for the mop ringer, but I'm on Google Patents right now. And again, just typed in Fred Murad. You see his name, Fred I. Murad. Seems like his middle name starts with the I, but he has another company called Transonic Companies, which it seems like they're dealing with vending machines and dispensing products. But yeah, man, the worldwide integrated resources, man, this guy has a ton of patents. Urinal screen, multi-purpose cleaning apparatus, lobby dustpan, single action mop ringer, a bucket. Man, this guy, again, you see down here, it says about 68 results. So this guy essentially has almost 68 patents, or around 68 patents, anywhere from design patents, as you see here with the USD, to utility patents. And again, I would imagine that if he is doing business in China, you're going to want to get a patent in China because a U.S. patent doesn't protect you in China. So this is just the U.S. patent, but I would imagine he has a ton of patents in China as well. And again, astute for him to not only, again, anywhere you're doing business, whether you're selling it, whether you are manufacturing a product, I'm assuming that it seems like he's not only manufacturing the product in China, but also doing a lot of sales in China. So anywhere you're selling a product, manufacturing a product, you need to consider filing in that particular country. Again, obviously we see he has a ton of U.S. patents, but with him doing business in China, I would imagine that he has, quite a few Chinese patents as well. I do also want to pull up the actual patent that see if I can find it here. The actual patent that PBD references. Let's see, is this it? Okay, here it goes. Because he talked about essentially the single-handed mop ringer. So this is the patent that he's talking about, which is the self-ringing mop. And obviously, Fred Murad, he out of California, Worldwide Integrated Resources is his company, which was an assignee. It seems like, again, he invented this on his own, but I think we all have seen this. So, man, this guy is brilliant. He's a genius. The single-handed, single self-ringing mop, where all you have to do is turn one of the handles and it rings itself. Definitely was a game changer. I would imagine that this made Fred in and of himself a ton of money. And this was, man, this is an old patent. This has expired now, but this was, he got a patent on this back in 2000. So yeah, the patent on it is good for 20 years from the date it was filed. So this patent would actually expire back in 2018. So again, that's the patent that PBD talks about or brings up in his actual video. I want to show you guys one last thing. Let's read the bio on this guy, because again, this guy's legit. This is his picture here. So we can see here, let's go through it really quickly. Let's read through it. Worldwide Integrated Resources, a manufacturing company, was founded in 1990 by Fred and his wife, it seems like Suzanne Murad, also the founders of Clean Sweep Supplying Company, a distribution company which was founded in 1978. So again, seems like he has a number of companies. Worldwide Integrated Resources, which is obviously the site that we're on. Seems like they also have Clean Sweep Supply Company. And then, as we talked about earlier, we had looked up, seems like he also has this Transonic company that makes this vending machines and dispensing products. So in 1990, after making his first trip into mainland China, so again, this corroborates what PBD was talking about as far as him kind of going to China, doing business in China. Fred discovered many possibilities in that country that stirred his creative imagination. It's all about the creativity. A lot of people are they have ideals, or I will take that back. All of us have ideals, but it seems like this Fred guy, he not only had an ideal and had this imagination, this creative imagination, he actually did something with it, not only with inventing a ton of products, but creating a business and becoming very rich, wealthy as a result of this. So again, hopefully you guys are kind of picking up what I'm putting down with this, because this guy did something about it. In other words, he didn't just essentially talk about it, come tell people, hey, I have an idea. He actually did something about it. And the fact that this guy it seems like he was stayed next to PBD's pops out in Syria, or Syrian out in Syria, that lets me know that, man, he had this hunger about himself coming to the U.S. and essentially getting rich, which shouts out to this guy for that. But as early as 1981, Fred had been working on developing a rotary plastic block for floor machines that integrated the clutch plate in the mold, thus eliminating the metal clutch plate, using wooden rotary floor block, and using waste plastic as his main component. So again, he had this ideal and he did something with it. He didn't just kind of let it fester or take it to the grave with him. This project was an ideal way ahead of his time, although it never went into production due to its high cost and unproved benefits. Today, you now see that plastic rotary block used throughout the industry provide, approving the original ideal be sound. And again, I think this is a good point, and you cannot get down when you're creating the stuff. A lot of this stuff is just before its time. You can't be before your time. I always think back to my interview I had with Dan Klitschner, the inventor of Bop It, the famous toy game of my childhood and many of you childhood, where you have to bop it, twist it, pull it. And he talked about how when you're creating a product, for it to hit home, it has to be right. He has used this acronym right, RITE. And it has to be let's see, what was the right? You have to have the relationships. You have to have the ideal, which is obviously the product, the patent. It has to be good timing, and you have to execute. This is what we see when we talk about the timing. A lot of times you can be way ahead of your time and get a patent on something, and people are talking about, hey, the cost of it and whether or not the benefits are there. And it can be something, and it most likely will be something later on, but the timing of it, just for whatever reason, isn't the right timing. And seems like with this plastic rotary block, it just wasn't the right time. I think back of the fidget spinners where, man, those things took off. This had to be late 2008 to like 2012. Those things were everywhere. However, the inventor of the fidget spinner, the patent she had on it actually went abandoned because it just didn't pick up back when she had first got a patent on it. I think back in the 90s or early 2000s. And again, it just didn't pick up, and she ultimately let the patent go abandoned. And next thing you know, this thing, it took off like a rocket. Everybody had a fidget spinner, and she unfortunately never made money off of it. The point of me telling that story is you cannot get down about those type stories and those type, products that you have that you get a patent on and it doesn't take off. You can't let that deter you from continuing to innovate, continuing to get patents, and continuing to, look to monetize off your IP, because sooner or later something is going to hit. And when it does, now the rest is history. So I do want to bring that up because I think that's important, because everything, again, unfortunately, everything is not going to hit, or some of the stuff is going to be way ahead of its time. And it seems like today, at least according to the website, that plastic rotary block is used throughout the industry. But again, for whatever reason, it didn't take off when he originally had the idea for it. So let's move on. Having worked in China, so it seems like Fred spent some time in China. Fred realized that this was a place where he could start to produce new cost-effective innovations. He started developing new ideas and is a leader of innovation. Okay, there you go. So he presently holds over 4 dozen patents. That's I would probably 48, 49, maybe 50. This guy is an innovative machine. Although he is still producing products in China after a major restoring initiative, most manufacturing is back to the U.S. Okay, nice. So it seems like he's still dealing with some stuff in China, but a lot of his manufacturing is back in the U.S. Worldwide has the capabilities for production in the following manufacturing categories. Seems like he's talking about what they're dealing with: broom making, injection molding, pretty much cleaning supplies for the most part. They produce exclusive products for the cleaning industry, pet industry, vending machine industry. So that was that. What was that company for Transonic? Seems like he's dealing with that with the vending machine industry. Seems like they do stuff in the medical industry, painting industries, among many others. So this guy's been killing it. They take pride in developing generic and proprietary private label products. They work from blueprints, prototypes, and manage product runs in an efficient, professional manner. They expedite orders as required by our customers. They develop their own tooling to our customers. So again, these guys are the real deal. Fred Murrah continues to provide innovations and is totally committed to quality customer service with a personal touch, a general sense of mutual trust between everyone who has the experience of doing business with him. So it seems like, man, again, obviously this guy's a millionaire. That's the whole point of the video that PBD was talking about. Again, I'm glad I caught that as I was watching it, the fact that this guy has the patent, the self-wringing mop. Seems like that did very well for him, as well as a number of other inventions that he has. He literally have built multiple companies, from Worldwide Integrated Resources to Transonic, and many more companies based off his IP. And hey, if you're buying Marilyn Monroe houses and driving Ferraris and things like that, you're pretty well off. So again, hopefully you guys got something out of this video. Please hit the like button if you did, as well as hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to bring you guys not only these current events that's talking about IP, but also I want to bring you real life examples of people who started with nothing. They had ideals in their head, and they didn't just sit on the ideas. What people say, most of the ideas are, if you go to the graveyard, you'll see most ideals just because people, they never move, they never act on their inventions or their ideals. They just go to the graveyard with them. I'm glad that Fred actually acted on his ideal in not only one time, but time and time again, to the fact that he literally built a conglomerate of patent portfolio and a company that has made millions and has made him well off and changed the trajectory of his family for generations to come. But again, this doesn't have to be a story that's unique to Fred. I have seen this. I have helped people become multimillionaires off of their product, off of their inventions, off of their ideals that they just didn't leave in as ideal, but they turned it into a prototype, turned it into a product, started selling it, started monetizing off of it, got the IP on it. This doesn't have to be a one-off thing. You can do it too. I know, because as a patent attorney, when I first tell people I'm a patent attorney, the next line is, I have an ideal. So I know you have an ideal out there. It's time to act on that ideal now. You may be the next Fred. I'm not sure if Marilyn Monroe house is still for sale or what type of condition it is, but again, you may be the next one that is the owner of it. If you act now on your IP, protect your ideal, protect the IP, and monetize off of it. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. I'll see you next time. Peace.